Hey, I want to tell you an interesting story from Buddhism. What I liked most about this story is that even though it's over 2,000 years old, it's still somehow relevant today, especially when dealing with grief and death. That is the story of Kisa Gotami, but first I want to talk a little bit about the historical context of Buddhism at the time. A quick recap. The Buddha, which means the Enlightened One, was born as Siddhartha Gautama, a prince of the Shaka clan. When he was a child, he was quite sheltered and didn't really know about stuff. When he finally left the palace, he encountered an old man, a sick man, a corpse, and a religious ascetic. This whole suffering thing blew his mind, and he became convinced that his life's mission was to seek liberation for himself and others. He renounced his princely life, leaving his father's kingdom to study the religious practice of asceticism, which is essentially giving up all indulgences for spiritual purposes. Eventually becoming disillusioned with that, Gautama came to believe that the true path was somewhere between indulgence and deprivation. It was then that Gautama meditated under the Bodhi tree until one night near dawn he obtained enlightenment, now known as the Buddha, which led him on a missionary journey teaching his sermons for 45 years. The text that I am reading from is known as the Dhammapada and started as an oral tradition in 600 BCE and was later written down in 100 BCE. Kisa Gotami was a new mother and her child had just died. Carrying her child around in her sari, she went from person to person asking if anyone had any medicine to bring her child back to life. No one could help, but eventually an old man said, "Why don't you go see the Buddha, who had just been enlightened?" "I've been to everyone," she pleaded desperately, "but still my son will not move. Will not breathe. Can you save him? Can't the Blessed One work miracles?" "I can help you, sister," the Buddha promised tenderly. "But first you'll need a little mustard seed, and it must come from a house where no one has died." Giddy with joy, Kisa Gotami raced back to the village and stopped at the very first house. The woman who met her was full of understanding. "Of course I will give you some mustard seed. How much does the Blessed One need to work his miracle?" "Just a little," Kisa Gotami said. Then remembering suddenly, "It must come from a house where no one has died." Her neighbour turned back with a smile of pity. "Little Gotami, you know how many people have died here. Just last month, I lost my grandmother." Kisa Gotami lowered her eyes ashamed. "I'm sorry, I'll try next door." The next door was the same, and the next house, and the house after that. Everyone wanted to help, but no one, not even the wealthiest homes, could meet that one simple condition. Death had come to all. Finally, Kisa Gotami understood. She took her child to the cremation ground and returned to the compassionate Buddha. "Sister," he greeted her, "did you bring me the mustard seed?" "Blessed One," she said, falling at his feet. "I've had enough of this mustard seed. Just let me be your disciple." When Kisa Gotami brought her child to the cremation ground, she was no longer running away from her grief. She was accepting the tragic loss of her child, and as a result she could move through her grief, instead of away from it. This story is about acceptance, especially accepting the things that we cannot change. And this can be a very powerful tool when dealing with grief. This may be why that the Buddha said, "Death is the greatest of all teachers." Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next video.